First and foremost, the accusations made against me are simply not true.
Dave Palumbo with an RX Muscle news update. Larry Wheels has made an official statement on his YouTube channel regarding the allegations of his ex-girlfriend that he beat her or put his hands on her. You know, I'm glad he made the statement because I think that it was necessary in this situation. Obviously, if you get arrested for something, you don't go making statements. But I think that this was a valid use of his YouTube channel. He has a big audience, and he wanted to explain to his fans and his followers what went on that night. And it seemed pretty obvious. I think both stories of the ex-girlfriend and his story kind of mesh a lot. You know, except where they deviate is that she claims that, you know, he physically, you know, put his hands on her, and he doesn't. And it seems like the evidence pretty much backs that up. I mean, the police came to his residence. They, you know, heard the same tapes that we heard her play on her YouTube channel, and they examined her, and she had no damage. She had no scratches. She had no bruises. She had nothing. Remember, when the cops got there, it was because Larry called the police because she pulled a knife on him. You know, now, I'm sure he could have wrestled that knife away from her, but that's when accidents happen. That's when someone gets, you know, inadvertently stabbed. And that's the smartest thing he could have done. In a situation like that that's getting explosive, it's a good idea for the person who seems to be a little bit more rational to call the police so that it doesn't escalate and we don't have a nightmare scenario. So I think that, you know, Larry clarifying what went on pretty much summed up what a lot of people thought. You know, it seemed like she was a scorned, you know, girlfriend. Now, was there an argument that night? Were they screaming at each other? Absolutely. Has every one of you guys out there also gotten into an argument with your significant other at one point and screamed at each other? Absolutely, we all have. So you can relate to that. Now, if this girl feels that, you know, Larry's now dating another girl and she feels like, you know, she was, you know, whatever, used or whatever the case may be, that she was not, you know, she's mad that she's not still in a relationship with Larry, I could understand, you know, what she's doing here, but I don't see any evidence to indicate that Larry did anything. Once again, he seems like a great guy, you know, on the outside, but that doesn't mean anything. But this situation, you know, did not warrant, I think, the video that she did. If it made her feel good about herself, fine. But, you know, to try to ruin someone's reputation because you're mad that you're not dating them anymore, I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm glad that Larry put this out. I believe him. I believe that he acted in a sane, rational way. I think that the sad part about it was that he probably just wasn't into this girl as much as she was into him. And when she was, whatever, carrying on about him cheating, if he did or not, we don't know. You know, he didn't offer that information. I'm assuming he did. You know, he just was like, get out, you know, and that's just probably pissed her off more and fueled the rage, so to speak. And sometimes these things escalate. And once again, I think that Larry did a very sane thing by calling the police. The police came, they heard both sides of the story, they inspected the crime scene. Look, Larry made a very valid point. If these cops felt that this girl had in any way been manhandled by this huge, humongous guy, okay, he would have been arrested and they would have asked questions later. But they didn't, they obviously didn't believe her and they didn't see any reason to take this thing any further. My question was, I wonder how it all ended. Did she leave his house? Or, I mean, no one ever really clarified how the scene ended. Did she wind up staying there the night? I don't know. But I think it was a very good taste YouTube message that he gave his viewers. He didn't offer an exorbitant amount of information. He got right to the point. He made a statement, and that's it. And I don't think it's going to go any further. You know, I think at this point, unless someone else comes forward or there's more evidence that no one presented, I think this is just, this is one of these cases where, you know, two people just didn't mesh and it didn't work out. And one person's pissed off about it. And in this current environment we see of, you know, the Sean Roden case, the Jeremy Buendia case, I think maybe she just felt it was the right time to, you know, try to, you know, start some trouble. And unfortunately, you know, it casts, once again, a black eye on our industry when we start seeing, you know, popular, you know, high profile athletes, you know, getting shots taken at them. But after listening to Larry, I think that the fans, I think that the people who support him are going to believe his story. It seems very believable. I've talked to a couple people that I heard, that I respect in our industry, who have listened to it, who have said the same thing. And hopefully this will just go away and we won't hear any more about this with regard to Larry Wheels, and Larry can go on with his life. All right, this is Dave Palumbo with the RX Muscle news update on the Larry Wheels situation.